Greetings everyone, and welcome back to the Vintage Sewing Machine Garage. You're looking at something you don't see very often. You're seeing a treadle machine. This is the Singer 15-30 I've been overhauling, and I've gotten everything done. We've got a new check spring installed. We have cleaned and lubricated the bobbin winding device. And of course now it's snapping back and forth as it should. We've got a new bobbin tire on it. And it will have to be going back into the treadle table. So why do I have a treadle machine in, this is an older Singer carrying case? Well, I needed it to be elevated. And if you don't have an extra case around and you're trying to work on a machine that you need to elevate, you can use a case because that's really a sort of an ideal situation. And the reason it needs to be elevated is that this machine, if I sit it down on a table surface by itself, I can't test it because the drivetrain doesn't have space. It needs to be elevated so that the drivetrain can move. But I needed and wanted to get the test stitching done. So I'll just show you guys how she cleaned up. She cleaned up, I think, fairly well. I will be doing a little buffing and cleaning of the paint before we're done, but I wanted to show you guys, why it's important when you're finished working on a machine. The sewing machines that are from the vintage era, they don't have computers, they don't have alarms and beeps and lights that flash at you when something's wrong. But when you get to know a machine really well, you will know by the sound it makes, you'll be able to tell in its movement, and of course, most importantly, the stitches that it makes will tell you how it's performing, right? That's, I guess, the ultimate test here. So anyway, again, there's no motor and there's no treadle here, so I'm just going to manually turn the hand wheel. I've got it set on the longest stitch, and let's just come over a row, and we will see how this, what is it? I think I said 1906, how this machine has been woken up and is ready and reporting for duty. It's just amazing. So again, you're not going to hear much sound here because again, there's no motor and there's no treadle clicking, but it's just me. Treadle machines are actually remarkably quiet, but they're very powerful. And once this machine goes back into its treadle cabinet, we have a new belt, by the way, new treadle belt and clips that I will be installing. I don't have the treadle table here because, again, for those of you who are just now seeing this machine, if you haven't seen the other videos on it, I basically this machine belongs to one of my clients. I removed it from the treadle table so I could work on it. I didn't bring the whole table with me. When I purchase one that's in a treadle, obviously I have that. So we'll make another run, and then we'll change the stitch length. I don't know if you guys remember when I first got it, the stitch length mechanism was not working. You could move it up and down, but it wasn't engaging, and I'll see if there's a way I can show you guys what I did to change that. So let's take, and again, this is a very simple device, very strong but simple. And I'm going to come up here. And remember, this machine does not have reverse. The Singer 15 class did not have back tacking back then. They would eventually add that feature. So I'll come here, and we'll snug that down, and then we'll make another row. And obviously you can see where the fabric is feeding more slowly, obviously, because the feed dogs are moving it along more slowly so that we can get those shorter stitch lengths, right? And then we'll come back down and go back to our long stitch length. And again, because I don't have my treadle set up, I can't test the bobbin winder, but again, it's engaging very well. I can tell by the space between the hand wheel pulley, remember hand wheels are really just a big pulley, that we should hopefully get some good engagement there once we get this installed. And let's pull this up, and I will show you guys what we have. So if you look, you'll see my row of stitches. The stitches are nice and even. That's the longest stitch length, which is not bad for a 1906 machine. You typically get longer stitch lengths and widths as you go through time, as we get closer, as you roll on through the decades. But back in the early 1900s, this was pretty cool. And then you'll notice I shortened the stitch length. And look, now I often talk about rotary shuttle hooks and how I think they're superior in some ways, especially for short length stitches, but this one is pretty darn impressive, right? So, and if we look on the back, I have a dark fabric. You can see the little dot where that top thread is. But anyway, I just wanted you guys to see. And this, by the way, includes, there's a seam here. So again, the tension holds even when the machine is asked to, to change how it's, when the fabric changes density, right? That's one of the other tests you want to do. Let's see. Oh, and I think one of you may have asked me on the channel in one of the other videos here, and this is not in pins, so I'm going to have to just sort of set it back a little bit. Now, you guys had asked me about this. If you have a machine, and this applies to the 15, okay? Other machines may vary. I think I need to lower, I'm going to lower my camera here, guys, because I need you to have a different view on this. And I'll just turn the machine toward us. So, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull up my presser foot is up. Now, up here, let's tilt this, you guys hopefully can see. Here's the stitch length adjustment, okay? Now, I'm going to loosen it, and I'm going to start moving it. Now, watch what happens. I don't know if you can see this. So what's changing? Right here, this piece right here, it's very subtle. You may not even be able to really detect it visually, right? Now, there we go. I had to rotate the hand wheel so you could see this. Now watch, guys, I'm going to move up. Watch. Did you see this move? Okay. Now, what's happening? This piece here, these two oiling points here, remember we have steel meeting steel, and then this right here, this machine was dry as a bone. It had dust and grime in it, and basically the device wasn't broken. These things were made so well. Now it wasn't moving because it couldn't, right? Watch this again where my little finger is here. Watch there, okay? You see that moving? Okay, so the stitch length regulator has a linkage, whoops, come here, and it moves this piece, which moves these pieces, which moves this, which up here changes the stitch length. So there you go. If you have a 15 class, at least for many of the 15 classes, I don't even know if this applies to all of them because they did make some subtle changes over the years, you can see that the stitch length mechanism, if you have a machine that hasn't been serviced, that's one of the first things you should check. So it may not be broken, it was frozen. And again, it needed to be woken up. It needed maintenance. These machines are very forgiving, but you know what? They were designed and engineered to be maintained. It's not hard, it's not onerous. Now that it's been done, all the owner will need to do with it whenever they use it is just, occasionally come under here and give it an oiling and make sure they keep it clean. I'm sure they will. So anyway, I just thought I'd show that to you guys. 1906, and it's woken up, and fingers crossed, we'll get it into the, I'll be putting it into the treadle table when we take it back to the owner, and we will hopefully get her running, and the owner's interested in being able to use it. They wanted to keep it. And who knows how long it's sat. You can't always tell. It could be decades. We just don't know. But again, as I mentioned in a video when I was talking about your favorite brand, I don't have a favorite brand, but for those of you who are interested in learning sewing machine restoration, or maybe you just have a machine, or you think you want a vintage machine and you want to restore it yourself, or maybe you don't, you'd like to pay someone to do that, but you can't find anyone. The Singer brand from the vintage era, dedicated straight stitch, not multi, and again, they are a dream to work on. They're simpler, and you're more apt to have success. you can take on any sewing machine restoration you want, and you may be very successful. So I always encourage people, don't be scared of any of these machines. But I just find that these are more forgiving, the straight stitchers, and this particular one is a Singer 15 class. I appreciate all you guys watching. Thanks again. We had a nice warm day today, an unusually warm day, and gorgeous sunshine, and I just love the way things look on video when you have natural light. Take care, everyone, and we will see you in the next video.